And overall in the pink, Vincent Luis. All those guys very much in contention for podium spots at the end of this weekend and a share of $1.5 million US. Let's get things underway in the men's eliminator. And here we go. A clean start and a good one from, I think, Matt Hauser, is it, in the white on the left. And he's almost going to swim into the end of the corner of the pontoon there.
That's Tommy Safari's right next to him, leading out on that left side of the screen. And you see Jonathan Brownlee in the red jersey a lot further back on the right of screen. He got a terrible start. He was pummeled just off the dive. It's Richard Murray, not renowned for swimming the green bike rider's jersey. And right behind him, Ryan Bailey, who we haven't seen in Super League racing since Jersey last year. Had a few injuries. It's great to see Ryan back.
Certainly is, and there's talent across the breadth of this field, there's no doubt. Henry Schoeman, he is in the blue with the fastest swim. He finished 4th in Cape Town. He was disappointed with that a couple of weeks ago.
Polyansky in the centre of the screen, a magnificent swimmer. He's been actually training with Richard Murray in South Africa, so he's made a change to his training regime. He realised after the last 2 rounds of Super League he had to do something, especially with the Olympics coming. And you can see Vincent Luis a fair way back. A long way back. This is the furthest back I've seen him at the start of a swim. He started in the centre. He got allocated a centre position, and he's a lot further back.
Again, though, as we just have a look at the water temperature, remains at 29 degrees. It's like a bath in there. The air temperature 31. So certainly,
I don't believe that humidity.
No, neither do I. I think it means 160%.
Yeah. If that's only 60%,
100% the air would be made of water.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
That seems to be the way it is. So all 191 centimetres of Igor Polyansky, the very experienced 29-year-old Russian, leads around Matt Hauser, who's coming back from hitting a car door last year in May on a training ride in the Gold Coast. Had a full shoulder reconstruction, but it doesn't seem to be hampering him early on in the swim. At the back of the field is Nathan Killam. You can see that moustache bobbing in and out of the water. He is very excited to be here. Absolutely, Nathan Killam, and a great addition. Has been racing Ironman races actually in 2018, so difficult to change to this kind of short, sharp racing.
Yeah, this is a little bit different. Yeah, a little bit different. But Igor Polyansky's really, we saw this in Mallorca in the last round. He's in the first race. He starts very, very well. He's got such a good natural speed off the start, and Henry Schoeman seems to build into it. We saw, who's that back there? That's Matt Hauser. Jeez, he always swims well, Matt Hauser. And I thought that was Andreas Schilling. That if it is, he's swimming well out of his skin. He's right up near the front. Remember, stage 1, it's about staying in that top 15 to move through to stage 2 and staying in a position where you don't get brought down in crashes on the bike. You stay out of trouble, and being right where Matt Hauser is right now is the place to be. Absolutely right. Matt Hauser just behind, or on the hip nearly, of Henry Schoeman, who is swimming on the feet of Igor Polyansky. And Schoeman really doesn't have a weakness, if you like. He's worked a lot on his bike. If we had to pick one out, it'd be the bike in terms of technicality, but this is a very technical course, and he's a small frame. At the back there, Oscar Coggins and Mark Yu as well from Hong Kong. The pair of them. Oscar Coggins only 19 years of age. Junior Asian champion he is last year. And he surrendered his British passport to represent Hong Kong at Tokyo. But Hauser and Schoeman trail Polyansky, Zefiris, Vincent Luis and Dorian Connix. Ben Canute there, Jonas Schomburg, who probably didn't have the swim he would have liked, Matt Sharp, Ryan Bailey, and there's Richard Murray in the green. And also back there was Hayden Wild, who sits currently in the top 6, and he wouldn't have been too happy with that. But a great return to Super League racing for Matt Hauser, and leading out of transition and through a bit of traffic is Igor Polyansky. Good transition also for Vincent Luis. Ben Canute, very slick, and there's Richard Murray. He'll need a very, very good transition. And out he goes. That was quick. But Matt Hauser leads from Polyansky, Schoeman, Vincent Luis, Zefiris, Canute, Dorian Connix, and Tyler Mislachuk, who we haven't mentioned, but is always there or thereabouts, from Hayden Wild, who had a great transition ahead of Johnny Brownlee, Jonas Schomburg, and Leo Bergier. That's your top 12. But outside the top 15 as it stands, Oscar Coggins, Mark Yu, Andreas Schilling. Two Schofield twins, Nathan Killam. Yep. Nathan wanted to stay. It's probably the closest he's been. He's not renowned for his swimming. He loved this bike course. As an Ironman athlete, he can tear apart a bike course, but he's just never been able to put himself in position in a draft legal event. Here's a chicane, and the men are hitting it with a lot more risk than we saw in the women's race. Geez, that's tight. It is very, very tight.
leaving no space unwritten on, if that is a phrase. And Ollie Turner at the back of the pack.
He'd be happy to have Ryan Bailey in the front there. Ryan will chase. He's renowned for his bike skills. He sees himself as a bit of a bike rider. He'll close that gap. And again, we're looking for the ones at the back because they're the ones in danger of being eliminated in this race, in this stage. It's about nursing yourself through this event, but making sure you're not one of the ones that put yourself in difficulty if anything was to go wrong, a collision, a crash, and suddenly we saw that in the women's race with Daniela Di Francesco from first to being eliminated.
Coggins, Bailey and Turner all in trouble. There is Schilling ahead of both Jaden and Luke Schofield, and Nathan Killam is at the back and working as hard as he possibly can.
Matt Hauser's back. He really shone last year in Jersey, and it was a tragedy that he got hit by a car just after his Commonwealth Games gold win on the Gold Coast last year. He was really primed to do really big things within the series. He made a statement finishing last year's race in Jersey right in the mix, and it's good to see him back in the racing, right at the front.
So on the bubble, Richard Murray and Jumpy Furuya, the Japanese star. Oscar Coggins in 16th will need to come up a place, as will Ryan Bailey and Ollie Turner. Andreas Schilling, Mark Yu, Luke Schofield in 21st and Jaden in 22nd, both 17 seconds back. It'd be really handy if they could actually not do everything exactly the same, but there you go.
There's a pile-up at the back there.
A pile-up?
Yeah, there's a crash at the back. I just saw a whole group go down. It looked like the two Schofield brothers.
We'll try and get a replay of that one as Ryan Bailey comes in super fast, followed by Ollie Turner, and that is Luke Schofield, who has got some problems with his bike. He's been tangled up and he is unhappy. Back on the bike, though, ahead of him is his brother, and I think with him was that Matt Sharp? We'll have to get an update on that.
It looked like, no, there's Matt Sharp at the back. It wasn't Matt. I can see him just behind Jonathan Brownlee.
Saw a Canadian flag there, I thought.
Hope that wasn't Tyler Mishler.
Maybe it was Nathan Killam.
Ah, yes. No, there's Tyler, he's safe. There's Matt Sharp.
Murray in 14th, Coggins in 15th, Bailey in 16th. There is your bubble riders at the moment. Mark Yu there, Andreas Schilling, and there's plenty of work to be done by our back markers, there's no doubt about that.
Isn't it uncanny how Vincent Luis just slowly slides his way up out of difficulty? We've just had a crash. He's now thought to himself, look, I'm sitting a little bit farther back. I don't need to take any chances. He's now sitting second wheel on Tommy Zafaris' wheel, which is the best place to be. And now he's on the front.
Yeah, it didn't take long. Vincent Luis, Matt Hauser, the Frenchman in the Australian lead. Ben Knut's moved his way up into 4th position. Plenty of talent across our top 10. Vince just knows how to put down power out of these corners and need to do that on repeat as they come around turn 3. Another sweeping right-hander. The next turn they face will be the Singapore chicane. Ryan Bailey and Ollie Turner looking to stay in touch with that pack. Vince goes back to 4th position, just comes off the gas a little bit and lets Hauser go back to the front ahead of 2 Americans in Zafiris and Knut.
It's tight through there. Really
very tight.
As it starts to heat up in these later stages, there's going to be a lot of risk taken through there, so it could get quite dangerous. If you watch the way Vincent Luis sits on his bike, he sits very, very high. He looks like a cross bike rider if you watch him, but he seems to take so many chances. We saw him in Jersey railing those corners, and geez, he's drifted a fair way back in one lap. Has he had a problem?
Well, this did happen to him at the bottom of the hill in Malta, and he's gone from 1st position, Vincent Luis, all the way down. So is he having trouble with his gearing? I'm not sure what's happened.
Something's
Heaven forbid it's not a flat, because that'll throw things wide open, because Henry Schoeman is sitting there. Something's happening to Vincent Luis. So his partner Taylor Spivey came off on the bike early on in stage 1 in the women's race, and now in the men's race, Vincent Luis, our championship leader, has dropped right down the order.
This is danger. Does he ride this flat tyre and run himself in? Does he ride the... I think he has a lap to go.
He's looking around. He's looking at options. He's going to stop. Is he? No. He's talking.
He's got a flat. It's definitely a flat tyre. He's going to ride a flat.
Flat at the back. He's just going to keep going. Is that the first flat tyre we've had in Super League Triathlon? And it happens to our championship leader in the grand final.
That is unbelievable. This throws things right up. Henry Schoeman right now must be frothing.
He's 12 points back, Henry Schoeman. You get 25 points, round points for today, 25 for tomorrow, and then your total of those round points will lead into championship points worth 50 total. And at some point, Henry Schoeman is going to see that his main championship rival has got a flat tyre, and it'll come at the end of the run when he comes around in transition for the last time and doesn't see the pink jersey.
We've got to do a number count here. Let's see how far back Vincent Luis is. We know he's a remarkable runner. He needs to stay calm.
He's got to be out.
He has to commit to this
run.
Here he is.
He's having all sorts of trouble.
It happened before that last turn. I was going to say on the last lap, I saw him unclip before the turn. It was as if he was putting his foot down because it was tight through the chicane, but it's obviously been a flat tyre.
So Ben Canute leads from Matt Hauser. Can you count that fast? Because I certainly can't. There's got to be at least 15.
15 is Schilling right there on screen.
How did you do that? You're just saying that with absolute
16,
clarity.
17. He needs to. He knows it. I tell you what, this will be a magnificent.
What a run it's going to be.
He can run himself through here.
I think he can do it. I think he can do it.
If anyone can, it's him. But there is so much on the line. So much on the line.
Behind him, doing all the work he can.
He's got another lap to get through. I thought that was the last lap.
Well, that's going to hurt too. So
I don't think Schoeman knows yet, because if he did, you would do everything you possibly could to make sure this group got further and further away and made things very, very difficult for Vincent Luis.
They're not sitting up though. Ben Canute, he only knows one way to ride. Matt House is enjoying his time back, no doubt. Tommy Zafiris is having a great run too.
11,
you can hear
14, 15 is Taylor, Tollins. So, sorry, that's 17th position. So I got it wrong the last count.
Right, well, you counted out loud this time like you were 6 years old.
Well, I do that to my son.
So that's nice.
Just to prove that I know how to count.
You know we're in commentary, but that's fine. So Hauser from Tommy Zafiris now. Canute third, Schoeman fourth. Still doesn't know, you think. Leo Berger in fifth from Dorian Connick. Two Frenchmen in the top five, but the one we're all looking at is not there in Vincent Luis. And there is Luke Schofield, who has eventually succumbed after that. After that race, and we've just heard that the twins, Luke and Jaden Schofield, in fact crashed into each other.
That'll be an interesting discussion at home tonight. Who brought who down?
Here's Vince Luis. He's still riding, but he's just dropping further and further behind. And I'm not sure that even Vincent Luis can run it back from there. He only has 2 laps to do so.
I'm looking at these. I don't think so.
And that is going to throw it wide open.
Wow.
So let's recap. Double points on offer across this weekend. That means 50 championship points. And Vincent Luis is 12 points ahead of Henry Schoeman. He could drop even further down the order. It's possible that Richard Murray or Johnny Brownlee could take second position. Hayden Wild goes in. Further down here in transition is Matt Hauser. Alongside him, Tommy Zafiris. Those two have been glued to each other the whole time.
Hayden Wild first out, Ben Canute, Henry Schoeman. It all depends on how much these guys commit now. Whether they start counting heads and cruise the run, thinking we're all safe, which allows Vincent Luis to commit to a huge run and run some time into them.
Surely not. It'll be one of the great runs in triathlon history.
There's no urgency. There's no urgency to this group. They're counting heads. It is lucky that it's happened now. It'll be a monumental effort. Monumental.
So Hayden Wild, Canute, Hauser. Here we go. Vincent Luis comes in finally after a flat halfway through the bike leg, and he knows he's going to have to run his way into 15th position or better.
This will be a huge... It's got to be 30 seconds. It has to be close to 30 seconds, which is... It's near impossible, but if anybody can do it, Vincent Luis can. He has been the biggest runner in the field and over the series. He's a remarkable talent. He's got more to lose than anyone else on screen here, and this is the time where you do pray. There's Tommy Zafiris. I
think there's our 15 with Oscar Coggins at the back with Tyler Mislachuk.
That's the group. He needs to get to that group. He needs to get on.
Murray, I think, is in 11th position. Zafiris in 12th. 14, Bailey, Mislachuk, and Coggins, which puts Schilling in 16th position.
And we're looking for Vincent Luis now.
There's Mark Yu. There is plenty of looking back and forth. All right, at the front is Wild.
He looks very comfortable, Hayden Wild.
He does indeed. He is the New Zealand mixed team relay champ after a great race last weekend. So great that they had to go back and check his times to make sure he wasn't cheating. They thought he was so fast, but of course he was not cheating.
Here it is now. Oh, yep. There it is there. Geez, he kept that up right.
Yeah, he slipped out at the back, and you can see already the wheel, the tyre is done. And he's looking back thinking that could be it. And there is Vincent's partner Taylor, who herself had a very tough race but managed to make it through into the top 10 after an accident on the bike. So
there's no urgency in this group up front, and that's a positive for Vincent Luis. They just seem to be quite controlled. Hayden Wild on the front, Ben Canute, Henry Schumann in the blue jersey, Jonathan Brownlee looking very, very comfortable. Matt Hauser in the centre.
At this point, Henry Schumann must have had a look around and realised that there's no pink jersey.
He knows.
So he needs to wonder whether the rest are going to come with him if he kicks on and tries to make sure that Vincent Luis doesn't... I suppose there's people behind them that aren't going to go with them regardless, so really it's not going to make all that much of a difference.
We're just looking at
the group of 11 there.
Vincent Luis doesn't care what's happening up front. He cares what number 15 is doing. That's his spot to the next stage. That's all that matters.
There's 15 people on screen as far as I can tell, with a group of 11 there, including Murray at the back, and a further 3, 4 with Tommy Zafiris and Oscar Coggins, and then on the bubble is Andreas Schilling in 16th position. So Vincent Luis is looking at Andreas Schilling, and we'll find out now exactly how far behind he is.
9 to sharp. And I think Henry's just gone, you know what? I may win this championship.
In fact, is in 15th position. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So Zafiris has dropped back through the pack after a fantastic swim and a good bike as well. And Andreas Schilling, wearing the 00 on his back, is in 15th position and 12 back. We're not seeing a 16th position for a while, so those seconds are adding up.
We've just got to subtract, and this is where our math comes. Schofield's in between Schilling and Jumpy.
So it's over 25 seconds. It is in fact 30 seconds flat and 1 lap to go. You'd think that Vincent Luis can't get back 30 seconds, but I've seen stranger things, not many. But if anyone can do it, it's Vince Luis. There he is.
Polianski drifted a lot further back. He was right in that front group, led the swim out, and now he's behind Vincent Luis, who's ridden the entire bike right on a flat tyre.
Great run there from Matt Sharp as well, who stuck with his pack the whole way. Ryan Bailey and Oscar Coggins as well, the 19-year-old. Tyler Misterchuk's always there or thereabouts. And all of these guys are safe at this point. And you can see, well, we would have just seen the gap back. But Henry Schumann, well, he looks in supreme form, doesn't he? He's so meticulous in his preparation. As I said, finished 4th in Cape Town behind another alumni from Super League Triathlon, Alex Yee, the Brit who really has announced himself in a big way. He comes from 10K running. He's so fast on the run. Trains on his own, Henry Schumann, with his dad, Joe. A little bit different to a lot of the others who train in teams under coaches, but him and his dad, Joe, training back in South Africa. 27-year-old. His run has been fantastic. We've seen him run his way to some famous victories over the last couple of years.
Henry just loves to sit on the front. He's such a front runner. He's got such a big swim. He gets out in front. He feels comfortable. He just seems to relax in his running form when he's on the front. He doesn't sit in a group as comfortably as, say, a Johnny Brownlee, who tends to feed off the energy of the group. But Henry likes to be in that position he is right now. He's looking at $1,000 if he wins the stage.
No, he's not. I think someone's coming down the inside at quite a pace.
I'll put a bet on it at the table.
He loves the $1,000. He took it at the top of the hill in Malta as well. But that'll be a nice shot to put on Jaden Schofield's wall.
It's Schomburg.
Jonas Schomburg.
Good on you.
Jonas Schomburg, he'll take the $1,000 thanks to a nice kick there. Unless he has a trip or something equally as unlucky. But Jonas Schomburg, the 24-year-old qualifier from Poznan, he's an emotional racer. He puts it all on the line and he wins the stage from Schumann, Brownlee, Wild, Canute, Connings, on debut in Super League from Matt Sharp, Matt Hauser, Leo Berger, Richard Murray, and by the look of it, Vincent Luis is out of the Eliminator.
That is Super League racing. One mistake, one piece of bad luck.
And he wasn't too far back either in the end.
Yeah.
Well, there's Jaden Schofield, but Vince was right behind Jaden a minute ago, and I don't know whether he's just stopped there. There he is.
Big run.
And that's incredibly unlucky for Vince Luis, who stuck with it and gave as much as he possibly could. Very, very tough for our championship leader. A bit of bad luck, and it looked like he was going to have perhaps the perfect season. And Nathan Killam is unlucky as well. And Igor Polyansky, he's been so fit, as you said, he's been training with Richard Murray himself. We had him on the show earlier, said he was fit and he was ready, but he had a little bit of a problem and some niggles, and maybe that's what hurt him in the end. And speaking of hurt,
oh man,
Vince Luis.
What a tragedy. What a day. You wonder what right now Henry Skumansik, you see him in the background in the blue jersey, he's just gone straight back to business. He's such a professional, but suddenly you'd be rubbing your hands together thinking, wow, a bit of luck has fallen my way and the championship is up for grabs. I can win this. I would never in a million years have picked that Vincent Luis would be eliminated in the first stage of the Eliminator.
All right, a little trip to the ice baths for Johnny Brownlee and the rest of those who need to go again. But right now, let's head down to Annie Emerson, who is with a very unlucky championship leader.
Vincent, I'm so sorry. There's nothing more I can say. It's racing, right? There's not a lot you can do about it.
Yeah, but that's, I would say that's sport, that's not math. Good thing I'm not good at math and better at sport, but that's it, you know. I'm happy for Henry. He really got the overall. I can now rest for tomorrow. Trying to have a good race. I need to check what happened to my tire. It was a brand new tire. I don't want to say anything, but I will check what happened to my bike before races. In my car already had a chain drop. It never happened to me. That's the first flat in 15 years of triathlon.
Wow.
So I will keep an eye on my bike next time.
Okay, you need to keep an eye on your bike, absolutely. But sometimes it can happen, right? The tyres can overheat, or maybe you picked up something on the road.
Yeah, I think that's the only flat in the World Super League since Jersey. So we'll see.
Okay, if nothing else, you win the award for the best bike handling skills, because that was something else, how you took that bike around the course. Yeah,
I just need to call my sponsor to send me a brand new rear wheel, because I think I destroyed this one. But yeah, it was fun, like a attraction park with the curve. So
okay.
I had some fun, but it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, Vincent, we're really, really sorry, but we'll look forward to seeing you in great shape for tomorrow's race and no punches.
Yeah, that's it. I will do my best tomorrow, try to conserve. I don't know what I can hope, 3rd or 4th, but it doesn't really matter now.
Sorry.
No worries.
Okay, cheers.
Well, that hurts. It certainly does, and this is where it happened too. Just a little bit too much power, perhaps, put the back wheel out. And that was the end of that. You can see already it's not tracking like it should, that back tyre. And as he said, brand new tyre, first puncture in 15 years of triathlon. And it could not have happened at a worse moment for Vincent Luis. And that is how easily championship results can be thrown into disarray. And the man who stands to capitalise the most is Henry Skuman. He's with Annie.
Henry, okay, so the big news of the day, your closest rival, the guy that was ahead of you in the rankings, is out of today's racing. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I'm actually really gutted. I mean, I can really feel for him. There's a lot on the line, and to have a puncture in the first race is devastating. So I really feel bad for him. And it's not the way that, if it turns out that I win the race in the series, it's not the way that I wanted to. I mean, I really wanted a good battle with him, but I hope he comes back tomorrow, and I hope he comes back angry.
Yeah, I mean, he was really disappointed. He said that it's the first time it's ever happened in Super League racing, so he was a bit shocked that he picked up a puncture.
Yeah, it's really bad luck, but yeah, I feel for him, but I'm going to focus on my own racing. There's still a lot of good athletes out here that could still beat me, but you know, just going to focus and hopefully I can perform.
I have to say, you look very controlled and relaxed out there. Was it as easy as you made it look?
I try to go as easy as possible, but it's hot out here. It's just only going to heat up even more over the next 2 races.
Okay, good luck for the next race.
What an absolutely outstanding answer from Henry Skuman. That is exactly the kind of answer you want from a man who loves his racing. Here is our eliminated athletes. Unfortunately, the Schofields ran into each other. We've talked about Vincent Luis, Nathan Killam left it all out there. Igor Polyansky had a great swim. Jumpy Furia as well, debutant from Japan, and another debutant, Mark Yu from Hong Kong, found the going tough, as did Ollie Turner from Jersey, and he's been a great addition, of course, across this Super League season. But
Those men go home. There are 8 of them and 15 go on to stage 2. Let's have a look back at how it all shook out in the opening stage, and there was plenty of action all the way through the pack. It was a nice clean start. Matt Hauser got a great start alongside Tommy Zafiris, and in the middle of the pack it was a great swim as well from Igor Polyansky, and he led into the first buoy and around as they turned for home as well. There was plenty of chopping and changing in the middle there as Skuman fought with Hauser for second position and to find the feet of Polyansky. In the end, it was Skuman that found those feet, but it was a nice swim all round. Polyansky was out of the water first, and Skuman and Hauser came out together ahead of Canute. Onto the bike they went for 5 laps. There were some great transitions there, and Hauser came out first from Polyansky, Skuman, and then we saw Vincent Luis there in 4th position ahead of Tommy Zafiris, who had a great swim. The Schofields tangled with each other. We know they like to do things together, but that was a little too much together. And then a little slide out at the back there. We know those pavings can be a little bit slippery even in the dry, and there was 3 laps with a flat tyre for Vincent Luis, who gutsed it out and nearly ran his way back, but it was a bridge too far. Instead, Hayden Wild let out the run. He looks to be in great form, as do all the men you can see in your picture. Jonas Schomburg in the end was the winner, but it was the story all about Vincent Luis. Schomburg takes the yellow tape from Henry Skuman, Jonathan Brownlee. They all quickly get 10 minutes to recover and cool down in the ice bath, but there is Vincent Luis, and that hurts, absolutely hurts. So the stage results for the first stage of the Eliminator. Schomburg takes the $1,000 for winning the stage from Skuman, Brownlee, Wild, Canute. Your top 5, Matthew Sharp raced well into 6th position ahead of Dorian Connix. Matthew Hauser is back in a big way from Leo Bergier, and Richard Murray will head